Hey.
Oh ho.
Hey.
Oh ho.
So welcome to The Grid, everybody. I'm Scott Kelby. This is RC.
What's going on, everybody?
I saw RC for like 10 seconds. Like I got on the set and I have to trim this video. I got to do this thing.
The thing.
I haven't
You
even
got the
said hi. Hi, RC.
What's going on? How are you?
You are. You're what's
Happy
going
New
on.
Year. Happy New Year.
Yeah, it's our first show of 2016.
Right?
And we're happy. You know who else is happy? Mr. Brad Moore. Hey, Brado.
What's going on? He's
Hey,
looking
he's
well
got a
coiffed.
really nice, he's got a new lighting setup over there.
Yeah, he's looking
Is it
good.
new?
They didn't put your grid panel behind you. You look like you're in somebody's like bedroom or something.
Maybe I am.
Maybe you are.
Oh,
Brad's in everyone's
Look at
bedroom.
him. He's like, maybe I am.
Maybe I am. Wow.
That's pretty good.
All right, your hair's looking good. I noticed you changed your hair a little over the holidays.
Yep. New haircut, new barbershop. When I was visiting my family in the Knoxville area, I went to a barbershop up there that I like and didn't tell them to do anything different, but they did. So I'm
But
going
they
with
did.
it.
It looks good though. It looks
He looks
good.
delicious.
Thank you.
Yeah, it looks
pretty good.
delicious.
That's awesome.
RC
Okay.
said that, not me. Anyway, hey, we're very glad to have you here today. Our topic today on The Grid is New Year's resolutions for making better images in 2016. So this was inspired by an email I got yesterday from Fender
Okay.
with they had 4 resolutions for 2016. They were very good. And I was like, we should do that, something like that on The Grid. And so RC and I have come up with some ideas that will hopefully help inspire you to make better images in 2016. And it's a number of different things. So that's what the show's about today.
Good.
And of course, we want to hear your ideas because we're not the idea factory. We want to hear from you guys as well. And of course, there's a lot of things that have happened. So if you'll give us a couple of minutes just to talk about some stuff, because CES is going on right now in
That's
Las
right.
Vegas, the Consumer Electronics Show.
400,000 people, they're saying.
400,000 people. It's interesting about CES because CES used to be such a consumer show that if a camera company went, all they talked about was point and shoot cameras.
Right.
Right. I mean, the business has evolved so much that now you've got these massive booths, and they're talking about high-end gear. And so, anyway, so they, so RC, like you've got some
Yeah,
stuff
well,
there.
there's a couple things that have come out that are new and noteworthy. One of the first things that we saw was that the Kodak is actually back in this space. I shouldn't say that they're back in this space. I mean, they've always been here.
No, it's okay, RC.
But a lot of the times you don't hear a lot of stuff coming out from Kodak. So Kodak's 4K action cam. So they have an action cam that's out there that's really kind of going into that kind of GoPro market.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of cool. One of the other things that I saw that was really neat, just saw this on Engadget, was a Views camera who does 3D VR for under $1,000. I think that part is pretty cool. So 3D immersive kind of virtual reality stuff.
Yep.
Like you're beginning to see some stuff on YouTube where you can move your camera and you can move it around, and it's like 360 degrees.
No,
and I
that
think,
is definitely starting to.
you know, so you're beginning to see people
get
play
that.
with virtual reality and 3D and all that kind of stuff. So I think things like that are kind of neat.
Hey, now Nikon came out with a camera like that, like the GoPro, their first action camera, right?
They have an action camera as well, but probably the biggest. I got to find that camera. But one of the biggest announcements that they had was the D500 DSLR with smart connectivity.
Smart. We're using quote smart.
Yeah, smart connectivity. I thought that was kind of neat. It's if I'm not mistaken, from what I read, it was the replacement to the D300S.
Yeah. How long have they been waiting? Have people been waiting for the D300S? I was still shooting a D300S when people were waiting for the 400.
Yes.
So, yeah,
So
it's
been a while. So it's been a while that they've done that. And then the newest one was that they announced the D5. So they have the Nikon D5 and then the D3S, and we're just kind of getting some of those specs that kind of come in right now. So
Yeah, I got my specs. Hold on, Brad wants to say something.
Yeah, I was looking online earlier and I saw that my buddy Todd Young at iShootShows.com was actually tapped to do some promotional stuff for the D500. So I thought that was kind of cool. So if you want to see some sample images from the D500, go to iShootShows.com.
He's very good.
Check out
Todd
Todd's work.
is a
He's phenomenal.
Great photographer.
Good stuff.
yeah, so it's been several years since they came out with the D4S, I think. So now the things that people are talking about, obviously it's on the screen right now. It's just 4K UHD video. The ISO is supposed to be really, really high.
Yeah, but can I tell you something about the ISO numbers? All right, so let's just. I looked at them, and this is nothing against Nikon because everyone will do this, right?
Right.
So, RC, I'm going to ask you. What's likely your highest ISO to shoot at? 6400 maybe? I mean, I try not to go over 4000 because I just don't, I want to keep my ISO as clean as possible. You go to 6400, you might go a little higher.
Yeah, 6400. Other than that, I'm kind of pushing it.
And you do a lot of, RC does a diverse amount of photography. He'll shoot one thing, he'll shoot a landscape one day, he'll shoot a portrait the next day, he'll shoot a building the next day. RC's all over the place. He shoots all kinds of different stuff. You ever needed 3,200,000 ISO?
No.
Can you imagine the amount of noise at 3,200,000? So when you see these numbers like that, like I just completely throw all those away because the only people that would need that are literally the FBI, Department of Homeland Security. For your average photographer, those numbers are just, I don't want to say they're fluff because they matter to some people.
Right. Well, I think it's become the new megapixel race.
But
it's
why?
like but I'm not saying positively or negatively
Fluff.
about
It's
it.
just fluff is what it is. It's fluff.
I am not saying anything about it.
I'm telling you now, it's fluff.
The only thing that I'm saying about it is
280,000 ISO.
3,280,000. Native ISO tops at 102,400.
Oh yeah, I'm going to be shooting it. I've never shot. I think the greatest number I've ever shot at was 20,000 ISO.
Right. So that's kind of like the Hail Mary shot.
Well, yeah, no.
I hope it's there.
Yeah, 20,000 ISOs, but so I don't need to go 5 times more than that. I don't know. I don't know actually what human being that is not working for a surveillance. Now, if you're like a private detective and you're trying to shoot
Reality
people
show.
in a park at night, a reality show. What's the other one? What you call it?
Sasquatch hunters.
No, what's the ones where they show up? The cheaters. Like you show up, but Brad's got his hands up. Brad, can I show you? Can you flip back to me? Don't go to Brad yet. Brad's over there like this. He's like tingling over here.
I just try to do a little something to get your attention, like, hey, I got something to put in.
That's good. I like the pointing better.
I can use a pretty high ISO at concerts because a lot of times, like when the curtain first raises, the lights might not be on, but you're trying to get something or trying to pull focus or something. So I find situations where even the highest, 25,000 ISO, like I could use a little more.
Seriously?
Yep.
It's not going to help you pull focus, though.
I don't know. I haven't used the camera.
No, but you can put the ISO or whatever. It's not going to help your camera pull focus.
Yeah, if you're trying to get some in between the sheet shots at night, like it's still going to be pretty dark. You got to guess where the action is happening.
Yeah. So the ISO is going to help your shutter speed be faster. It's not going to help you pull focus.
It'll help your face pull focus.
That's Brad's answer when you hey, can we move the jib so I can read what's on there? Do you mind? All right, thanks. All right, we got a couple of comments. We'll get to these in just 1 second. So anyway, but they did come out with some stuff. Now this is just me talking. I want to give you a disclaimer before I say what I'm about to say. I'm a Canon shooter, so
right.
if I tell you something about Nikon, it's going to be biased. It looks like to me, just on my first blush. Now I have not held the camera. Nikon, of course, did not send me the camera. I don't know anything about the camera at all. And so I don't want to be, I always see people on the web coming out and destroying a camera without ever have touched it. They'll tell you all the things that are wrong with it. So I'm not going to tell you what's wrong with it, but it looks like, just to me, that it's a competitor to the 7D Mark II for Canon users.
This is the D5. This is the D500.
The D500 looks like it's a competitor. They have basically the same kind of frame rate.
Well, they have a
things like
touchscreen.
that. They have a touchscreen. Now,
So does the 7D.
No, the 7D.
70D.
No, the 70D does, not the 7D Mark II. So it's interesting because one of the things that people talked about was how is a touchscreen going to hold up in a real sports environment? Now, what you might say is you could say the D500 isn't maybe a professional sports camera,
Okay.
but the D5 is, and it has a touchscreen.
Yes, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. It could work out great, or it could be a disaster. I don't know.
And for me, it's one of those things where I'm a knob. Like I like knobs. I like knobs and menus and buttons. So for me, it's like what I try to do whenever I pick up a camera is I'll usually take the camera, I'll set up whatever custom settings that I need to be able to do, and I'll sit there and I'll just hold it and just go. I can change here. I can change here. I can change here. I can change here. So I'm always just tweaking.
Yeah.
Right. So inside of here, I want to be able to just kind of get to a shoot. And if I put it to my eye, I want to be able to just go boop, 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 boop. I want everything to be here on my fingers rather than hit the menu button.
Yeah.
Hitting the menu button for me feels like it's just like, I got to go check something.
Yeah.
So for me, my ability to be able to just kind of go is very important to me. So I would say that if you had just, here's a pseudo zero resolution for 2016, learn how to do this.
Yeah, a lot of this.
A lot of this.
A lot of that.
Do a lot of this. For
So anyway,
2016.
people have been calling me out, like on Twitter and different places, going, "Hey, what do you think of the D500, or what do you think of the D5?"
It's all right.
You know what? Here's what I think about it. B&H was kind enough to send me an email that says, it was the same email they sent to everybody, that said, here are the specs. So all I can do is talk about the specs. And somebody said, hey, are you going to switch to the D5? You know, it's got 12 frames a second. The camera I've been using for 3 years has 12 frames per second.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, okay.
One day, I don't know when, Canon will make a successor to that.
Right. And then that
My
will
old
probably be
camera I've been
different.
shooting for 3 years does 12 frames a second.
But I think that has to do. I think that has also to do with people's need to. I've got to have the next something.
Yeah.
I've got to have the next something. I've gotten to a point where I'm like, the cameras that I have. At one point, people are like, "Oh well, what if that camera had this?" And I'm like,
Dude, I know, and you can't keep switching brands. You know, somebody said something the other day. I was reading an article. I wish I could tell you who it was because I like to give the person credit. And they said, be careful when you choose your cameraman because you're not buying a camera. You are buying into a system because you're going to have to use pretty much their lenses or lenses that work on their cameras, their flashes, their thing. You're buying into a system. Now, there are some companies that are more proprietary than others. Like they want you to use, you kind of almost force you to use their stuff. And then there's some that are like, you know, there's all kinds of third-party stuff. They're more open to third-party stuff.
Right.
But when you make a decision for your camera, you're buying into their system of photography. Can't think of it by buying a body. I bought into this system. Anyway, so I don't really have anything to say about, even though everyone's calling me out of that. What are you thinking? When's your full review coming out? It's like, Nikon hadn't sent me a camera to try in a long time.
yeah. I mean, KelbyOne will cover it like in terms of a class.
We'll be teaching on it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll cover it as part of a class. We'll have
Absolutely.
an explainer. As soon as we get our hands on one, we'll have a guide on how to be able to use it.
how to use it.
All of the stuff will be here.
Absolutely.
But it's just one of those things where it just doesn't come here, so we don't see it.
Yeah. So yeah, if it comes here, as soon as it does, then we'll be able
But it's
to
not
do a
like,
class on
like,
it.
are you jumping? It was like, well, you're fine.
Yeah.
You're okay.
Yeah. All right. So hey, a couple other things.
Oh, can I just point out something?
yeah, sure.
Something that I think that's weird. Just while we're talking about the CES for 1 second, you know what I'm seeing, which I thought was really weird. This Sony's latest 4K TVs to get their own HDR video service, and then I saw LG 4K OLED promises a superior HDR experience. And I'm sitting there and I'm kind of going, are we talking about the same HDR, like the HDR, more contrast, more color, the same HDR that now no one's doing in photography?
Yeah.
Like it's literally like at a spot right, and this is coming from a person who has an HDR book, so let's just take that for. But it's like, I was talking to somebody recently. They were just like, "Hey, man, so you going to be going on and do some HDRs this year?" And I'm like, "I got to be honest with you guys. It's 2016. I think HDR is on minute 17.
Yeah. I'm doing.
We're kind of done with HDR.
Yeah, if we're using HDR, we're now doing it to do like normal, regular looking things, not the HDR.
The entire
try like Trey's HDR.
I didn't say Trey's HDR was bad. I said it was Trey's HDR. What I'm saying is you don't see that HDR happening much anymore.
Yeah, well, everything goes through. You know,
it's gone through.
And I see my own like post processing, like style changing and stuff too. So everybody.
But it's funny because it's like now you're beginning. People are like, well, now you see it on television.
Well, that TV's like.
And you know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of like that thing where people turn around and they go, you know that something's out of fad when your parents are doing it?
Oh yeah, like once your parents are on Facebook, every teen has to leave, and they all left. Like
that's what it feels like now.
It
feels like a feature. Once a feature gets onto a television, then you're done. It's like 3D. You're done.
You're done.
But anyway,
okay, I got 3 little quick things, just real quick, and we're gonna take a break, and then we'll start with our thing. All right, number one. So this is a success story. A guy sends me a note on Facebook, says, "Mr. Kelly, I was watching your and RC's episode of The Grid about Instagram, and you guys talked about hashtagging and how important it is, and you also talked about that people are making money on Instagram.
Right.
So I followed your advice, and I went to an event. I took my camera. I shot the event. I posted some of the images on Instagram, and I hashtagged them with the name of the event.
Right.
They called me, wanted to use my images. They hired me. I am now shooting for them. I'm now paid to shoot for them.
Good
and
for
he goes,
you.
and it all came from your show. So anytime that happens, as educators, that's a success story for us. We love to see that, and that was very exciting. So I was, number one, very excited, and I wanted to encourage him to, on. But it's exactly what we were talking about. Now I taped a class. We talked about why you should be on Instagram.
Right.
I taped a class on how to build your audience on Instagram, and I'm going to show you the same things that I've been using on mine. I'm adding 1,800 people a week,
Right.
and it's not from Facebook and it's not from Twitter. It's organically through the things that I'm going to teach in that class. Everybody's asking me, when's that class coming out? I don't really know, but I would say probably in the next few weeks.
Right.
Because the problem is, so we do a new class every week on KelbyOne, and so there's a schedule, and yours fits in where it fits in, and I could go and say,
But we should probably move that schedule up.
Yeah, we'll have to look at it. Yeah, aren't you in charge of the schedule? Listen, wait a minute. Aren't you in charge of when classes come out?
Yes.
Can you move mine up a little?
I might be able to do something like that. Yeah.
Do you know somebody?
I think I got a guy.
Anyway,
Anyway,
that was really great. I was very excited. That's educators and people that are trying to really help. When you see something like that, it's very exciting. Number one. Number two, did you see the news about Twitter?
I did.
So Twitter, the CEO of Twitter, he didn't come out and say this is what we're doing and when we're doing it, but he basically kind of said,
I'm going to try to keep relevant.
Yeah, we're
Sorry. It's just
sorry. No, what he said was we're going to lift the 140 character limit, and how they're going to do it is, well, he said in so many words. He did a very clever way of saying this is what we're going to do without making the announcement.
Okay.
But he said we're going to break the 140. They may go to 10,000 characters, but only 140 will show in the feed, but there'll be a button that says more. And when you click more, it expands. I think that is amazingly great news. I think that there was a time where the 140 character thing was, but what he said in his post was people are skirting it by writing a bunch of text, making a screen capture of it, and attaching it. So if people are to this point where now they are trying to skirt the rules and trying to find ways to break it, why don't they just give the people what they want? So hats off. This is the original CEO, the guy who started Twitter. Now he's back, and I wish him great success.
Yeah, I think it'll be cool.
That's big news. Number three is it is 2016. If you are a Lightroom user, or even if you're a Photoshop user, like using the bridge and metadata, and there are 10 to 12 people doing that, go and change your copyright to 2016.
Yes.
Like if you want to put that. So I did a tutorial on Lightroom Killer Tips on Monday, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, today's Wednesday. Go to lightroomkillertips.com on Monday. Look, and I did a tutorial basically on the step-by-step process on updating your copyright, the automatic copyright you apply to your images. Make sure you set it to 2016. That's pretty much it, right?
Yeah, I think we're pretty good there.
What'd you do on your holiday? Anything exciting?
I didn't. I didn't do much of anything. I had my in-laws here, so that I thought was pretty cool. They
hate
came
you,
down,
though, right? They hate you?
They do.
They hate
They
RC.
do. So I usually just sit in my own room and just kind of fold laundry whenever they throw the bucket in, and just that's it. It's just okay. Joe folded laundry now.
No. You had a good time?
No, they're great. Like you know what? Like I hang out with my in-laws a lot, like all the time. So they came down and they spent some time with
That's
Sabine
nice.
and they do some stuff. So it's great to see it, and it's just okay, a little touching moment. Right?
Touching moments with RC.
Like my dad's no longer around.
Right.
So it's one of those things where it's like I get to see my father-in-law with my daughter.
Right.
And it kind of reminds me of what my dad would be like if it were my mom. My dad would be like not with my mom. That'd be weird. But my dad with Sabine, and it's a good thing. So it's a constant present for me. So I think it's a really cool thing.
That is a cool
Other
thing.
than that,
you're also very blessed
relaxed.
to have a good relationship with your in-laws. My mom and dad are both gone, unfortunately, for a while, and I had amazing parents, so I don't want to complain because they were just awesome. But I have a wonderful mother-in-law. Like my mother-in-law, my father-in-law's a really great guy. He's cool. He's charming. But I've adopted my mother-in-law as my mother. I mean, she's just awesome. She's really, really sweet and very, 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 just a wonderful person. You ever meet someone who's on the earth to make sure everybody's happy?
That's her.
That's her.
That's nice.
That's her thing. She wants the family to be happy, the kids to be happy, the neighbors to be happy. She just wants everybody to be happy. She will go out of her way to make everybody happy, accommodate everybody. She takes in every stray animal, every stray person. That's just her. She's really awesome. Okay, we're gonna take a short break. We got some comments. We're gonna read those first when we come back, and then we're gonna dive into. We've got some, I think, some good resolutions, and I made a very hacky little video to show you something when we get back from the break. But that's what we're gonna talk about for the rest of the show is some New Year's resolutions so you make better pictures in 2016. Stick around. We'll be right back.
I'm Kaylee Greer. In this class, you're gonna learn how to get the best photos possible out of your dog, how to work with your dog and keep him engaged and interested, how to capture action shots of your dog flying at about a gazillion miles an hour. We're gonna take a trip to the shelter to learn how to work with shelter dogs and give them a second chance through photography. Come check out my new class on KelbyOne.com.
Hi, I'm Richard Burnaby. Welcome to the beautiful Blue Ridge Parkway of North Carolina. We're going to go on a photographic road tour, photographing waterfalls, sunrises, sunsets, grand landscapes, mountains. We're going to talk about gear, we're going to talk about camera settings, and most importantly, we're going to talk about my thought process that goes into each of the compositions, the locations we visit. So I hope you check out my brand new class only on KelbyOne.com.
I'm Cliff Mountner. I've always envisioned taking KelbyOne for an inside look at how I approach a real wedding. This is authentic. This is an actual client that has allowed me to capture their day and bring KelbyOne along. You're gonna see how I approach every element of the day. We're talking about an overall view at my approach. I really hope you take a moment to check out my brand new classes, A Real Wedding, live and uncensored, only on KelbyOne.com.
Welcome back, everybody. RC here with Mr. Scott Kelby, talking about some stuff. So UF Photography, I want to kick this off real quick. Scott, congratulations for making the top 10 list of most influential CEOs. I saw that over Twitter.
Hey, yeah. Oh, that's from UF Photography. Thanks. Yeah, you know what? It is weird to wake up in the morning. It is weird to wake up in the morning and see this thing. And I'm thinking, this has got to be kind of crazy. And I go and look, and this guy's, I guess, that runs this thing is pretty famous. He's put together an algorithm that takes into your cloud score and your Twitter following, all this stuff, and they ranked me as the number 7 most influential CEO. Like Tim Cook is right there, and Warren Buffett, and I'm in the middle of this, and I'm like, I even sent him a note and I go, are you sure this is right? So here's what I have to imagine. There's and because I had a talk, because somebody called me this morning about it. I go, oh my God, you're the 7 ranked CEO. And I said, here's what I got to imagine this is. There are not many photographers who call themselves CEO, right? So my main job isn't photography, right? My job is running KelbyOne, and so I'm the CEO of KelbyOne, where everybody else is a photographer, because there's no other photographers on the list that I could tell.
Right.
But I think that's why I'm the only photographer in the list. But I did not expect to be at number 7. It's bonkers. I'll show you it if I can find it here in a minute. I'll just pull it up.
I thought it was cool. Scott RC, are you sending Imaging USA? And if so, when will you be there?
I will be there briefly. So Sunday, I'm having dinner with my 97-year-old uncle.
Wow.
Yeah, like a boss. Anyway, dude, he was like in Pearl Harbor and all that kind of stuff, and his ship was bombed, and it was like, yeah. Wow. Anyway, so having dinner with him on like Saturday, and I'll be there Sunday. So I'm there Sunday. I'm there and I'm out. It's a one-day thing. I'm there, and Rock and Rob Foley will be there. I'm gonna see Rob and some friends, and then I'm out. So I'm like, I'll be back to work on Monday, just pounding that rock.
Yeah, I'm out there for a couple of days.
Yeah,
I'm
doing all kinds of stuff.
Well, I'm doing a party for Canon. So they have a party, the Imaging USA party, and I'm shooting kind of like their step and repeat thing. I kind of like it because like I get to talk to people. And do some
RC does a really good job with it.
So
he does. He makes it like a thing.
So I'm really excited about the fact that I'm doing that. Now, can I just hijack this for one more second before we do resolution? Okay, because somebody just reminded me, Tom, I am sorry for this, but I do want to send you a very, very special message for this. something that I thought was neat. We were talking about just the benefits of KelbyOne and things like that. So I kind of wanted to just take up 1 second to talk a little bit about Tom. So Tom, who's Tom? Tom is this guy, the Side Effects Band, right? So he's on Twitter, the Side Effects Band. I met him out in Sacramento. So he runs his band with his wife. Really, really nice guy. And he wanted to go out to eat and do some stuff and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't get a chance to do that. But I was having a conversation with people over Twitter. I was talking about the fact that I've gone back to do martial arts again, and I picked Wing Chun to do that. So I've been doing Wing Chun for a while, and I've been wanting to do a Wing Chun.
Everybody
dummy.
have fun tonight.
Yes,
Yes.
that's exactly it.
Everybody Wing Chun
I've been
tonight.
doing it, and I've been wanting to get like a Wing Chun dummy, a wooden Wing Chun dummy, and they're expensive as all get out. So sure enough, on Christmas, I'm going to show you what a Wing Chun dummy looks like. But I'll just pull that up there, and then this is what they look like. So they're really expensive. Right? They're like $1,000 for this. So I dig it. I'm gonna get one. I'm excited about it. But sure enough, over Christmas break, I get this. And it's basically a 3-page handwritten note from Tom about the path that he's taken from. He actually got injured. He was an ambulance, like an ambulance tech kind of person. Please, I hope that's what it was. But like an EMT guy, and he was doing stuff, and he got hurt, and his back gave him a problem, and his legs gave him a problem, and it was one of those things where he just hasn't had a chance to kind of recover, and he had to change careers, and he had to do all that stuff. And it was the coolest letter to get over Christmas, because he wanted to build this for me out of wood. But then he's like, it's really expensive, it's really big. And he got me a little desk one, which I thought was awesome. And he wrote the note. And while I'm very grateful for the desk wooden dummy, the note really took it over the top. And he just explained about how KelbyOne and what the stuff that you've done and the stuff that I've done and the stuff that we've all done here has helped him kind of redefine and re-energize and re-engage and things like that. So Tom, I wanted to take that message to tell you thank you very, very much. We're so happy that we're able to do that for you. And,
That was very cool.
And it was a great kickoff to the holiday season. So thank you very much for that.
All right.
All right.
Let's get
back to you.
Okay. Hey, here's that. By the way, I pulled up that website here. If you can show my my screen there. There it was. Imagine wake up number. Now look, I dropped one. I got up to number 6 last week, but I dropped to number 7. But at least I'm in front of Tim Cook from Apple. Come on.
Yeah.
I got to think these CEOs are not doing. Richard Branson is. How did he get in front of me?
You know, Warren Buffett's sitting there going, damn you, Scott Kelby.
Yeah, how did he get in front of me? Anyway, I gotta imagine there's not many photographers or these CEOs just aren't doing anything. You know what? And seriously, because I had a talk with a buddy of mine this morning about this. I said, I bet a lot of these CEOs just don't go on Twitter and talk all the time because they're running public companies and there's all kinds of stuff that comes with it. They probably have PR departments and legal teams that look at it before they tweet.
Right.
We've seen what happens when like NFL stars or politicians tweet with no one really looking at it without a legal department and all. So that's probably what it is. Okay. Right. Yeah. Brad wrote Donald Trump tweets all the time. Right. Nobody's looking at his stuff. Okay. All right. Johan Stoop says, hey, Scott, stop making stop making snapshots, and that is his New Year's resolution. Johan, that's what we want to do today. We want to help you out. And I'm going to start with the first one if I can. So my resolution is it's actually based on an article I read. Now, unfortunately, I follow 3 or 4 different like guitar teachers, so I'm not sure who wrote it. I wish I could give them credit, but it was a really good article, and it really kind of popped a thing in me. And so I made a little video to show you. So I'm going to show you 2 little videos. Brad shot them 3 minutes before we walked. That's why I didn't have any time to, so like, hi, RC. I sat down because Brad was in there taping this little video. Before we do, I want to show you my Christmas present. Look at my shirt here. Let me move out of the way. Move all the stuff. So here it is.
Education is important, but playing guitar is importanter.
My wife got me that. So I guess Glenn Dewis had shared this on Twitter. My wife saw it and ordered one. And so
that's awesome.
That's one of my Christmas presents. But Calibra gives the best presents. Okay. All right. So I'm going to show you 2 videos. And these videos are based on this article. Here's one. I'm going to go ahead and play it. It's a short video. It's like a minute. No, it's 25 seconds, which is plenty, believe me, of hearing me play guitar. So, and this is right before we walked on stage. Here we go. Or into this room, wherever we are. Okay. So, what is that? All right. That is what we call, and this is what in the article was, that was noodling. That's what I do a lot. I pick up my guitar, I play a couple of songs, I play a couple of riffs. I may sit there for 15 minutes, 20 minutes at home. I might do it for a half an hour and 45 minutes. And here's what I realized, and this article said so eloquently. You're not practicing guitar. You're not getting any better at guitar. You know what you're doing? You're noodling. Pick up your guitar, and you're just goofing around. Now, I want to show you another video. This video is different. Watch. Whoops, I got to rewind it, I guess. Here we go. All right, that video. That video is really boring. You know what that is? That's practice. Do you see the difference? What a huge difference there is. Noodling's fun. Pick up my guitar, goof along, play a couple of songs. I'm not getting a lick better. I pick up my guitar and I start playing scales, and it's boring as anything. You just play them over and over and over again. That's me getting better at guitar. And as you can see, I need to get a lot better.
I'm pretty
And
good.
that's why I spend a lot of time like running scales and doing all that kind of stuff. And so that's what I think one of the, if you want to have a really good resolution for 2016, my first one would be to you is really practice. Walking around in the street, taking pictures with your camera, or just walking around, street photography,
Right.
that's not practice. That's noodling. Practice is where you pick an area, you sit down, and you work it. You've decided, I'm going to try to make a particular kind of image. I'm going to try to get a person doing this particular thing. I'm going to do what Jay Maisel does. I'm going to wait in front of a colorful wall, and I'm going to sit there as long as it takes, and I'm going to take people as they come by and shoot them, waiting for someone with a contrasty outfit to come by. I'm going to go into the studio, I'm going to set up one light, and I'm going to keep moving the light, and I'm going to start to understand how the shadows interact. That's practicing. If you want to get better this year, stop noodling. Start practicing. So that's the thing. And also, you're going to be tempted this year to do a lot of things, like shoot water droplets, shoot the, what do you call it? You swing them and create sparks.
The steel wool.
Steel wool, thank you. I couldn't think of the name. You're going to be tempted to do a lot of projects like that. They're fun. They're noodling. Because chances are you're not going to get a job as the steel wool photographer any more than you're going to get the job as the water drop photographer. Those are fun projects, but don't have the illusion that that's practice. If you want to get better at photography, you've got to get better at practicing the actual craft of it. And that means sometimes spending a lot of time doing stuff that's boring and just sitting there and grinding out. And Brad will know. Brad and I have gone to the studio some days trying something new. And we have had some where you shoot for hours and at the end of the day, we have nothing, right, Brad? We've had those situations where we've invested money and we've spent a lot of time and we've got nothing.
And you always blame me for it.
And of course I blame, that's why you have an assistant, by the way, is to blame Brad. Brad, the reason these shots don't look good is because of you.
And I think that's probably one of the biggest marks. That's one of the biggest marks of a photographer that's in a spot where they feel better about. I think there's a leap that you make as a photographer when you turn around and you shoot and nothing comes of it and you're okay with it.
Yeah, that's practice. It's okay.
And I think once you understand the concept that you can shoot, it's a lot like fishing. You know, it doesn't take away from fishing. If you go out and you shoot and when you come back there's nothing and you're okay with that, sometimes
that's okay.
That's fine. So
now,
Mr. Brad,
here's what I don't want you to do. I really don't want you to go, because this is what will happen. You'll read tonight on Twitter. Scott Kelby says don't shoot
steel wool.
Don't shoot steel wool. Don't shoot water drops. I'm not saying that. Those are perfectly fine to do. Shoot all the steel wool and water. Just know that you're not moving your photography ahead. You are not practicing. You're not increasing your skill. You are... Wow. You should see the stuff
voguing.
Brad is doing over there. When it switched, it was already too late in it. But go ahead, Brad.
So two things. First, I just love how they just completely interrupted you and came to me. I was just trying to get your attention. But anyway, two things. What Scott is saying is, if you're going to shoot still, well, do it with a 50 millimeter lens, because then it'll be fantastic.
Absolutely.
Two,
And then,
two, going off what RC was saying, I remember hearing about Greg Heisler, how for years he had a photo studio in New York that he never used for an actual like commercial editorial shooting gig, but he was in there constantly practicing and trying different lighting setups. It was just his practice space, but he rented it. He never used it for a job though.
that shows you his respect for the importance of practice, that it was so important that he invested in it. So that would be my first one of today is to really work on practice.
Yeah.
Understand the difference between noodling and practice as a photographer. Remember, if you're having a lot of fun, it's probably not practice.
Right. So, see, my resolution is a little bit more, they're a little bit more banal. They're a little bit more simple when it comes to this. One of the things that I'm not very good at is keywording and descriptions and things like that. And not that I want to go through 200,000 images and be like, what were the keywords for this? I'm not, that you'll never do. But what I want to do is, a lot of the times, whenever I'm working on a picture, the one thing that I don't do is I'm like, oh, this picture's great. And I'm staring at the library field, and I'm staring at the description, I'm staring at the section where you could put in your caption for all of that stuff, and I never do anything with it. It's like I finish everything. I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. This is a 5-star shot. And I look at the one field right here, and it stays completely empty. And I'm like, okay.
Okay, but RC.
It's annoying, and
So
I want to be
RC?
able to do it. Yes, sir.
Are you having a hard time finding that picture later?
It's not a question of finding the picture later, and it goes into the second portion of one of my other resolutions for that. I think that the pictures that I work on and they edit, they should have a title, they should have a caption, they should have, I should put some organization to it. It has nothing to do with finding it, it just has to do with the organization of it. So,
Organization meaning how you find it?
no. I'm sure. Okay, let me give you my second resolution. My second resolution is to post more pictures on Flickr and on 500px. I want to post pictures on both of the sites. But whenever I post pictures on both of the sites, I always have to go back in, and the title is empty and the description is empty.
Right.
Now I got to put a title. Now I got to put a description.
Okay, well, I do that all the time.
Right, but if I did it in the library module, when I exported it out, it would be there
I know,
already.
But okay, can I tell you how messed up that is? Let me tell you why it's messed up.
Why is that?
So you're going to caption all these pictures.
Not all of them. No. I don't want to. Not all of them.
No.
I want to caption the ones that I've edited.
Right, but what you're doing is you're making a decision now that I might put this on Flickr, I might put this on 500px, so I'm going to caption it now instead of captioning it later. You don't save any time. It doesn't do anything for you. All it does, you're going to lose time because there'll be pictures that you'll fully capture and never post. This I call
All right.
BS.
Well, maybe you just killed my resolution.
No,
Fine,
and so
then.
Stephanie's saying the same thing. My resolution is to remember keyword stuff when I import it into Lightroom and blog more. Hey, Stephanie, I think the blog more idea is fantastic.
Yes.
I'm 100% behind you. It is one of the hardest freaking things to do. Everybody's got 2 weeks of blogging in them. What separates the pros from the amateurs is week 3. Because you know what it is? A lot of people create blogs because they want to get something off their chest. And they go, I'm writing a blog and I'm angry about these 3 topics. And then it's like, oh, it's week 3 and all. And all right, so that's kind of a deal. Okay. But RC, think about that because you know what it is? We all have a finite amount of time. Don't be captioning images that you'll never actually use. Because you're going to caption them and go, well, that's done. Because one day I'll be so happy when I import it into 500px that's already captioned. Okay. Because you're gonna wind up captioning a bunch of photos that never make it there. All right. But anyway, so I'm not big on the whole keywording thing because I got a class I'm working on. So I have 16 classes. Did I tell you? I have 16 classes I'm working on.
No, this is good news.
I've taped 2 of them. I have 14 classes I'm gonna try to knock out in the next few months. And one of them is rethinking photo organization. Just completely rethinking it from scratch. Like forget everything we've known before. I have a new thing. And my whole thing is mostly based on what you do before you ever launch a piece of software.
Okay.
Boom. So like how you organize it on your hard drive and stuff like that. I know,
Good to
and I'm at the point where we have a theater. So when we expanded our video productions, we built a theater, and I'm trying to think: do I want a live crowd for this? Because it's a lot of talking. It's a lot of a concept, and not so much like a demo. But there will be some demo to it. But I don't know if I want to have a live audience because we have this great theater for that. But then I don't know. Hey, Deb Usulica says, "How about a class on practicing?" Well, you know who's very good at that, Roberto.
Oh, yes,
Roberto's very good about practicing.
Roberto.
Stuff. All right. You're going to say this person's name, the second one?
Shannon Nardis. My resolution is to come up with a resolution tomorrow.
There you
That was
go.
just easy.
So your resolution really is procrastination. I'm with you. I'm all over it. Okay. So, RC, you got to get, since I killed your last one,
768?
I'm going to lift up your next one here.
Oh, okay. All right.
This
So
is
my
big.
resolution for it is to print more. Right. I print a lot more than people probably know that I do, but it's one of those things where I am very, very printy. It's one of those things that I think that in 2016 I want to print more. I want to recycle stuff that's in my house. I want to make sure that I'm sending more prints out to people. I think that it's important to print more. I think
Dude, that's a great resolution
Yeah.
right there. That is better than my mine.
Yeah,
That's really good.
You know what I like about it is just working with printing more. I think it makes you kind of a little bit more judicious about how you shoot, and that's the part that I'm
All
excited
right.
about.
So can I tell them a story about you?
Sure.
All right. So RC was in jail, and they were trumped up charges. No. So here's the thing.
They weren't trumped up charges. He just got dropped.
At Photo Plus Expo in New York City, Canon had a big launch. They had a big party. It was amazing. I can't imagine what they spent on this thing. But they launched a brand new printer and all this stuff, and it was a pretty groundbreaking printer. And so RC had kind of been involved in all this printing stuff, and RC had one of the first printers and all that stuff. Anyway, Canon asked RC to host this evening event. And RC, and I got to lead up to this. All right. So one of the things that I thought Canon did that was brilliant was when you walked into this place, and it was a really cool multi-level space, but it was kind of like between a loft and a gallery and a studio. It was very, very hip and very large. All right. You walked in and there was this whole wall, and it had empty frames in it, all just empty frames, big frames, empty, like a mat, but no picture. And so they had set up shooting bays in the back of the room, and Joel Grimes was there, and Lindsay Adler was there, different photographers were there. They had this big setup, and they would take pictures at the setups, right, with these nice, it was really nicely done, and they would make prints. When they make a print, they would go to the wall, and they would hang the print. So as the night went on, it became an art gallery. It was the coolest thing. But what RC did sucked the oxygen out of the room. It was the coolest thing. And on my tour, I even tell the story I'm about to tell you on my current tour because it's so great. Because I talk about, there's a section about in my class called The Power of the Print. And so I talk about this, but I tell RC's story. And RC, I'm going to paraphrase it. I'm not going to say exactly like RC did, but RC gets up and they introduce, ladies and gentlemen, RC. And RC comes out, hey everybody, how you doing? He does this, he does that, RC stuff, all that. All right, so he does that, and RC's like, man, this is an amazing time, right? You got these phones that take images, and you got pads, and you got laptops and all, and you take an image, and you can see it right there. It's right there on your phone, and you know what? It's gone with one swipe, and it goes to a black screen, and the whole room was like. RC's like, how do you make your images live on? And he points to the wall of prints, and the whole place was like, the next morning at the show, all I could hear about was, you should have seen what RC said. Everybody freaked out because he's right. He's exactly right. If you lose your phone, there will be images that you will never see again the rest of your life. Most people don't have their stuff backed up. You know it and I know it. And I can even swear that my phone is backed up. The most important pictures I'll ever take are on this phone. It's of my family, of my kids. It's like places we've gone. It's the visual history of my life. I have 12,000 photos on here, right? If I lose this, it's gone forever. But you know what? Look back at what our parents did. Our parents gave us a crappy shoebox of stuff. Mm-hmm. But if they didn't give us that shoebox, what if they had given us a disc? What if they had given us a hard drive that doesn't work anymore? What if they had given us some kind of medium? By printing it, they actually preserved their memory, their visual history. When you go and make that print, it becomes real and it lasts, and the permanence on the prints that they're using today last over 100 years. And so Well, I thought when you said that whole thing, that was another. You never hear something, you go, "Oh, he's so right." That, you know, it's very easy to go swipe, and that image is gone from the device, and it's gone from your memory and all. But when you make a print, and like RC, and RC has beautiful prints in his home and stuff and all, dude, I am 100% behind that.
The one thing that people need to kind of keep in mind, and it's the one thing that is right as rain. This is the one thing that I try to tell everybody. It's you were promised a world of digital, and digital fades. It always does. Anything digital fades. If you look at every service that's out there, it's at a point right now where, like Facebook, right? Facebook knows that you bombard your Facebook account with thousands of pictures, so much so that now they've created algorithms to go, this point 3 years ago, this was a picture, to try to remind you that that image faded. It is out of your memory. So they're creating a service that goes, here it is, look, remember your legacy, remember it. Yeah. And you know what happens? Everybody thought it was awesome for a hot second. Now you look at it, you go, aw, cool, skip. That fades too.
Cool.
Anything digital fades.
Swipe.
You have to get used to that. And tangible physical is where it's at. So anyway, I could go on and on about it, but that's just my thing.
But I think your resolution is incredibly important.
Yeah, it is.
I do have just a tip for you. I think we talked about this maybe on an earlier grid. Because some of your most important images are on your phone, they may not be your best photos. They're not like your DSLR photos. They're not, you know, but they're still important. It's your kids, and it's a particular day. Mm-hmm. I mean, I literally have my daughter's first day of kindergarten, the first day of first grade, first day. My wife's very, very like, we always take pictures of the kids. The first day we drop them off at school, they're bawling, they're crying, they're scratching. You know, we throw them, go. Anyway, but there's a service. It's an app called Mosaic, and it lets you choose 20 photos. And you do this all on your phone, and you do it. I'm not joking. When I say 5 minutes, it's you're lucky if it's just 5 minutes. If you're lucky if it's more than 5 minutes. 5 minutes, choose 20 photos. It makes a beautiful book, hardcover, and they ship it to you. It's a little pricey. It's $25. So consider it about $1 a photo, and then there's a photo page in the front with all the, like a mosaic it makes for you. But it's the easiest thing you've ever seen. A laboratory test rack can make a book with it in 5 minutes and hit go, and in 3 days you have prints that you would never make. You would never make these things into prints. So if you do nothing else, go pick your 20 most important photos, go to Mixbook.
Print those.
It's from Mixbook. It's called Mosaic.
Okay.
It's Mosaic, I believe. It's on the App Store. Download it for free. Make your first book. Pick your 20 most important photos. You know what? At least if you passed away tomorrow, you were hit by a bus, which is my wife always uses that, hit by a bus. If I were my wife, I would never step anywhere near a bus, because that is her analogy. If you're hit by a bus, you get hit by a bus tomorrow, those images will live. You know what? You get hit by a bus tomorrow and this gets crushed, or it gets lost, or it gets stolen. Man, I got heartbreaking stories from people. People send me these big, long things, and they're just like, is there anything I can do? Did you back up your stuff? No, I didn't have it backed up. Terrible.
So there's, so what was I going to say? So, all right, so because it's in front of me and it's already something that you've already talked about, I'll kind of just dovetail to that.
Okay.
That was the other resolution, which was make collections and prints from my phone. Right, there's so many things that sit and live on my phone, and I started doing it.
I kind of walked on your
no,
finger,
that's totally fine. That's totally fine. It's because it is important. It's one of those things where I started doing a whole bunch of stuff, but I was doing it on the MPIC side. So I would I'd take a whole bunch of pictures, download them, and then I put them onto the MPIC site, and I was making like small books and things like that. I think that they are really good at giving you really good keepsakes. So I've been using them, but it's the thing about get the stuff off the phone, put it onto this, get it on it, get something tangible back. So that would be something that I think is
That's important. A great one. You're on a roll.
So,
hey, Brad lets us know when it's time for a break. Like they contact him through the control room and stuff, and he writes when it's time for a break. Today's one says, my resolution, make time for more breaks.
So let's get and go to a quick break. We'll come back in just a little bit.
Hey guys, my name's Peter Hurley, and I just did a new class on KelbyOne.com called The Art of the Edit. What is editing about? Do you shoot people? Let's say we do some amazing headshots and we do an amazing session. What do we have to do? We have to narrow that sucker down to the best shots. How do you pick the best headshot from all these pictures? Why am I picking this shot over this shot, or that shot over that shot, or that shot over that? Well, which one is she gonna use? How are we gonna know? This is my editing process. I'm gonna pull out the shots that are the real winners out of there. I am looking for that elusive shebang shot. A shebang has lookability. It has something that makes me feel something inside. We're gonna develop an eye for this. I'm gonna show you how it's done. I'm gonna show you how I do it. You have to find your own shebangs. Develop this muscle. The Art of the Edit, exclusively on KelbyOne.com. Shebang!
Create your own space at squarespace.com.
Welcome back, everybody. RC here with Scott Kelby on the grid. We're talking about resolutions. Oh, can I just point out one more thing for CES?
Yeah.
That I thought was really neat? Olloclip just finished coming out with a new set of accessories for their stuff. They've added mic holders and lenses, like lens holders and flashes and things like that.
Dude, their stuff is the bomb.
So if you haven't seen it already, make sure that you go to olloclip.com. Right?
How do you spell it?
OLLO clip. So just go to olloclip.com.
There you go.
And you can take a look at most of their stuff. They give away prizes for the Worldwide Photo Walk.
They
So
do.
people are actually getting that stuff. So
They're
I thought
awesome.
it was really neat. They have a new suite of products for individuals taking the camera and moving it further on your phone.
So I saw a guy with a phone on the sidelines at the game this weekend using an Olloclip. Using an Olloclip zoom, yeah.
Nice.
All right, so back to our story.
All right.
Resolutions. All right, I've got one for you.
Okay.
And I did this during the holidays. Update your portfolio.
I did not do that.
If you don't have a portfolio, it's time. If you have one, you know what? I can't tell you how many people I run into who's, when you say, hey, do you have a portfolio? Yeah, I haven't updated it in a while. And I was talking about this, and so a buddy of mine so my buddy Rob Foldy. So Rob Foldy is a very, very, very good sports photographer. And I asked him the other day, and we've been buddies for a long time, and I just never asked him. I said, because I follow on Instagram and stuff, do you have a portfolio? And he's like, yeah. And he sent me to a link to a really nice portfolio. And so I'm going through there, and he's got some really great images, some images I've never seen before.
Right.
But he had a couple images. I'm like, dude,
Conversation.
we need to talk. No, they weren't
Intervention.
bad, but here's the thing, and this is interesting. He has better pictures than that. Like, he'll text me like, hey, like he shoots a lot. He shoots for Getty Sports, and he shoots like baseball, and he shoots like all the football games, and he shoots all kinds of stuff. And he'll text me stuff, and I'm like, wow. And so I see images on my phone that should be in his portfolio. You know what his problem is?
He doesn't put them there.
He's not updating it. He's not updating his portfolio. So that's a resolution, because he's got shots on, and I did get him to pull one. I did his portfolio
Did you?
intervention. Yeah, I got him to
Intervention?
pull one. But it's okay. He's got great stuff. So you need to be following him on Instagram, by the way. So I think it's just Rob Foldy. I mean, who else would be named Rob Foldy, right, on Instagram? Go see if that's Rob.
Was it
Okay,
Rob?
I'll get Rob Foldy, Foldy.
I got
Let's
you.
go see him. Anyway, RC's getting that. Make sure you follow him on Instagram, because he's really putting all that stuff there, and he's really growing his audience as well. So no, that's not him. Yeah, just add by Instagram or something. You're going to find his website. He's got some good stuff, though. Anyway,
so you want to go to Instagram?
But
Okay.
don't fall into the trap. A lot of sports photographers, a lot of people in general, I'll talk to them and I'll go, and I'll see some of the work like online or something.
There we go.
Yeah, there's his Instagram stuff.
Instagram.com/Rob Foldy.
Hey, look at this one that he posted here. What's his name? Harbaugh, who always is going off and being crazy.
What's he doing? Ice bucket challenge?
Ice bucket. But he even looks angry in the ice bucket. So.
But what is that the thing that they do
it's
at the
Jim
end of the
Harbaugh.
game?
Yeah, they pour the Gatorade bucket over you.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or either that, he's just spitting up. And look at this. Can I show you this one? Look at the left corner. He's got this goalpost. Look at this. He look how he framed the flyover here. He's got two jets right in the middle of the cloud, right in the middle of the goalpost, right in the middle of the stadium.
He's good.
Luck.
He's got a
Anyway,
gift.
no,
He's got a gift.
You have a
Ooh.
gift. Anyway, but he's got some. Look. Oh, go back to that page. Did you already dump it?
No.
Scroll down a little bit. Dude, he's got some good stuff. Look at that boxing one. Go to the boxing one.
This one?
Yeah. But he's got some really clever stuff. Anyway, but that's one of my things. Go update your portfolio. If you haven't done it in a while, it's time. How long will it take? You do it in one night. But I would definitely do that.
Did you see this real quick? Just on a quick thing, when we're talking about one of the things that came over the holiday was Amazon's best-selling camera item this holiday was film.
Really?
Yeah. The number one thing, Amazon released the same results for the holidays, and basically, the Instax mini film, like there's these little contact sheets.
Yeah.
That was Amazon's thing. I thought it was kind of neat. It was
For that little like play camera.
Yeah, for a play camera. So,
For a play camera. All right, so RC, I'll let you. I have some more resolutions, but you.
all right, give me some resolutions.
All right, so here's one thing I would do. I talked about this on not my current tour, but on my previous tour, is if you really want to do something that'll help your photography overall, and when I say it, you're going to go, well, I don't really like that. Learn to use one light.
Yep.
There's so many photographers who I talk to, and they go, yeah, I just do natural light. And I go, why don't do you, and nobody does natural light that knows how to do flash. Nobody says, I'm just a natural light photographer. If you know how to do flash, that's like saying, I don't use Photoshop, because you don't know Photoshop, right? Because if you knew Photoshop, you'd do Photoshop. That doesn't mean that will stop you from doing natural light. I shoot natural light, and I have all kinds of lights. So if you learn to use one light, I promise you it will open up a whole new world. Number one, you won't be a part-time photographer. You'll be able to shoot after 6 p.m. You'll be able to shoot before 5 a.m. You'll be able to shoot indoors. You'll be able to shoot all kinds of things you never dreamed of. Number two is you can do so much to control natural light, but you can't move the sun. There's certain things you can't not do. When you have regular light, you'll still use the sun. You'll still shoot outdoors. You'll still shoot on location. You'll use the sun for backlighting. You'll use the sun for a rim light. You'll use the sun for all kinds of things. Just learn to use one light. Now, I was telling RC on the break, I haven't mentioned I have 16 classes. Mm-hmm. So I want to read you the name of one of my classes. It's called,
I want to see this going.
How to Light a Portrait. And then in parentheses I'm putting, and I'm making it so easy that if you can't do this, you probably shouldn't use lighting at all. I'm going to make it so easy that there's no way. It's going to be a 30-minute class. 30 minutes, and you're going to be able to light a portrait. I'm going to show you exactly what to do. That doesn't mean your portrait's going to look good, but it will be well lit. Depends on the person you're shooting, the expressions, emotion. It's not what makes a good portrait. It's a thing that you do and get it out of the way so you can begin to make a good portrait.
Right.
But I'm going to teach you in 30 minutes. It's going to be one of our shortest classes on KelbyOne. It's called, once again, How to Light a Portrait. And I'm making it so easy that if you can't do this, you shouldn't be using lighting at all. You're just bleh. I don't know. You're just a bobo. You have no idea. There's no way, You can't do this class I'm going to show you. With one little flash, you're out of the game. Okay. All right. So anyway, that's one of the many classes that I've got coming.
So what's your other resolution? Give me another one.
I have more resolutions. Okay. So also, here's something you got to do. This has never been more important than it is today. You got to get good at the post-production stuff. You just got to. Guys, it's not that hard. It's just not that hard. Now, you got to realize Lightroom has this many features. Photoshop has more features than I can fit on screen. You're going to have to pick the ones that are important to you. Well, we try to help do that. Like like I'm teaching, I'm on the road teaching my 7-point system. I make it it's just this stuff. So, but you got to get good at this. If you've been putting it off, if you're kind of okay at it, why? There are a million resources. I mean, obviously we have resources, right? So the whole place is KelbyOne, right? But there are a million resources out there for you to learn. I would love if you learned it with us.
Here at
KelbyOne.
Fuel for Creativity, right here, KelbyOne.com.
Right there on RC screen, learn right off RC screen.
New website I like a lot.
Oh, yeah.
This is good. Anyway,
dude, we got some stuff coming. It's crazy. Okay. Anyway, but so here's the deal. You got to learn post. This is the year. If you're using Photoshop and Bridge, your resolution should be to learn Lightroom. And here's the thing. I talk to people all the time. I've been on the road for years. Brad will tell you. People come up and they go, I don't know. I'm using Bridge and Camera Raw. Why would I even need Lightroom? I don't know. It's just a replacement for Lightroom. I mean, it's just a replacement for Camera Raw. It will replace Camera Raw, but it's so much more. Because ask yourself this. If you're using Photoshop and you're editing, right? Mm-hmm. Here's what you're doing. You're using Bridge to organize. You're using Camera Raw to edit your things. And then you're finishing it off in Photoshop, right? One photograph, 3 programs. Do you need 3 programs to do one? It's hard to learn 3 programs. Any one of them is hard enough to learn. You're going to learn 3 to do one photograph because you're kind of comfortable with it. Look, guys, it's 2016. Don't be the last person in the world to use Lightroom. Freaking get on board.
Yep.
One of your resolutions should be, if you're on Photoshop and Camera Raw, I promise you this, you will not look back. You will go, I can't believe I waited so long. And it's because you just don't know. You haven't used it, you don't really know, you might open it up. Go download. Don't they let you download it for free? Go download it for free. I have a class, and now it sounds like I push another class, but I'm going to push
but you got to push it. Here's the thing. We got to push classes here because they're good classes.
Okay, but this class is called Learn Lightroom in 1 hour. All right? If you're not a KelbyOne member, it's just $20. Just pay $19.95, go watch my class. That's it. And while you're there, go watch my lighting class. Anyway, because you can watch everything for a month for $19.95 or $19.99, whatever it is. Go and watch that class. Learn Lightroom in 1 hour. Now, in 1 hour, you're not going to be a shark, but you'll be up and running, you'll be using it, and you'll get it. 1 hour. Learn Lightroom in 1 hour.
Yep. Why not?
Why not?
You have to.
That's one. Do you have more? I got more resolutions.
Well, the only other resolution that I would say, which goes across the printing thing, right?
Yeah.
What I would do is this. If you want to feel more connected with your work, one of the things that you need to do is you need to have a target for the work that you're going to do. And a lot of the times I talk about targets in terms of concepts and looking at something and thinking of an idea and then executing the idea. But here's one simple exercise that I'm doing for myself that I hope would work for you guys. Go out into your house, walk around your house, and find an open space in your house, on your wall. Right? I have an open space right now. I have a little tiny bathroom. I have one of those, like, it's just like a pooper. Like, it's like you go into the bathroom and it's just like there's bathtub and then there's the linen closet and then there's just one, like you sit like this. So.
Thanks for that visual.
But I'm sorry, but anyway, just right in front of us, there's a big open wall and I'm looking at it. And every time I'm there, I go take a look at it and I just go, I want to put something here and I don't know what to put. So that becomes my target. Find a spot in your house.
It should just be an arrow.
No, find a spot. No, it's in front of me. That would be pointing behind. But find a spot in your house.
It just gets worse and worse.
Right? Find a spot in your house where
like,
you just stare at it and you just go, I want to put something there. And then go out and shoot for that and go start to finish on it. I want something there. I want it to be this color. I want it to be this size. I want it to be this orientation. I want something there. Then go out and find it, shoot it, print it, frame it, put it up.
Don't make it brown. Anyway, what if you're doing like a kitchen? Like if you have a spot in your kitchen, you could say, I want to do shot of coffee with some beans around it.
Just find something.
Hey, you know what I got my wife? Can I tell you what I got my wife?
What'd you get?
I got her something cool.
What'd you get?
For Christmas?
What'd you get her?
So Etsy, Etsy.com, they actually sell wood for shooting food photography. Dude, I bought her four big like wood setups because she's really good at food photography and she's got a very nice natural light window. And so I bought her four big, they're this big. They're like 36 by 36 or something.
I would have never, I'm laughing because it's like, I would have never thought to just sell wood.
Dude, they're selling wood and it's not cheap. It's not cheap.
That makes sense.
Now, you can get a little piece of wood cheap, but if you go to this big, I mean, that could be $80 a block or something.
Jesus.
$60 or something.
That's
but anyway.
sharp. That's cool.
So, I
hadn't really thought about it. Of course,
but then,
in order for you to do it,
but
you
let's
need wood.
say that you wanted to shoot something for your kitchen. You could just there's cheaper ways to get wood than buy it from Etsy. But dude, it's all set up. It's nice. It's made for food photography.
Stained and it looks nice.
Oh, dude, it looks great. And I got her four very different ones, so it wouldn't be like they're all subtle. They're like, this one's a dark wood, this one's a light wood, this one's whitewash. I mean, they're all different. So anyway, back to our story.
Right.
I really like that idea of going out and giving yourself a project because you know what? That's practice. You set out to do something. You're not just walking around noodling. You're not just walking, you're actually going, I'm trying to shoot this thing to achieve this goal, and you will learn along the way. You may not nail it, which means that's okay. You try a second time.
Mm-hmm.
We don't go, whoops, it didn't work this time. I'm out.
Well, because everything in photography that you do, I'm a firm believer that in photography, once you learn the mechanics and the controls and all of that kind of stuff, everything else is about execution.
Yeah.
There isn't a person that you talk to, any pro photographer that you talk to out there says the first thing that they do is they don't sit there and go, well, I have this camera and I have a lens and I have this. Everything starts with, I have an idea. What if this person was sitting there with big hair jumping and there's fire and there's this and there's that? They have a target. So they set a target in front of them and they use all of the instruments that they have as a photographer to get to the target. So everything, once you learn the basics, photography is about execution. So giving yourself a task where you execute, right? Something as simple as, there's my kitchen wall. What do I want there? I want it to be tall. I want it to be wide. I want it to have a color. Now you're practicing. Now you're actually setting out to do something, and you have something that you can measure against. So I think that part I think is pretty neat.
We're about out of time. I'm
We are.
looking up something because I want to show you something. I want to talk about some of these. Anonymous said, Brad is in rare form, man. He's back for the holidays. Anonymous said, RC, how about a new print course? Then again, maybe there is one.
There is one. I am refreshing it. I'm making another course. So it's one. I have a course called Print, Pack, and Ship that's on KelbyOne.
What's the language?
I'm sorry. I don't mean to start some ship. So,
I'm shipping my pants.
I'm shipping my drawers. But I'm gonna redo a couple of courses. I want to do some courses that are very specific to specific printers. So we'll go ahead and we'll talk about that. Right now, the hot printer for me happens to be that Canon Pro 1000. So I'm gonna be doing a class that's specific to that. I'm gonna talk about calibration.
Dude, that
and
printer
color
is
and things
crazy.
like that. So I'm having a lot of fun. With that.
All right.
What was the other? Let me see. I'm gonna take a look at some more quotes.
Well,
over here.
we got to take a break here. We're getting there. But can I? We can keep going for a second? All right, because I'm trying to look up something and I can't get an internet connection.
Donna 2713 said, I show 3 5-year-olds an instant photo and they were shocked. Yeah, instant photos is kind of neat. I think it's pretty good. Ustreamer768 says, my resolution is going pro. Last year, I second shot 3 weddings. This year, I've booked 3 of my own, plus 40 paid concerts, plus 70 houses for a real estate company. I'm making KelbyOne's website burn.
Thank you.
Right now. And you know what, man? That's cool. It's one of those things where I think is great. I love hearing. I got to figure out a way to be able to get people to tell us these stories somewhere, because there are so many of these stories that come in where people are like, man, I did this one picture, and I don't want to be the person to tell you, you're going to make money on this. You're going to do this. I'll tell you that if you dedicate yourself, you'll feed the habit. You're going to do some of that stuff. But there are more times than not when I see people go out there and they're just like, man, I'm going pro. I'm making shots. I'm doing this. So congratulations, 768. I think that's really cool. Eric Myers Photo says, my resolution is to photograph a college football game this year. I hope that happens for you, Eric Myers, as well.
You know what, Eric? What I like about that is, so if that's your resolution, like you're probably shooting high school and you want to shoot college. I like when people pick one it's doable, but it still stretches you. Mm-hmm. It's not like, I want to shoot the Super Bowl. I want to shoot the Super Bowl. I ain't shooting the Super Bowl, by the way.
You know?
No. The NFL didn't give my wire service and they wouldn't have chosen me anyway. I'm so far down the totem pole that have been like, oh, it's guys in Tampa.
You're number 7,
Stupid
CEO.
Guy. Yeah, the number 7 CEO doesn't get to the Super Bowl.
You got to get Warren Buffett to make that.
Yeah, I have to Warren. Can you call?
Can I point out one more thing over here before we go anywhere else?
Yeah, yeah.
So this book is out and we're giving it away as a prize. So if you're not yet in Photoshop and you're using Elements, you're going to get the Photoshop Elements 14 book for digital photographers by the man himself, Mr. Scott Kelby.
The man himself. Wow, that makes it sound a lot better than I really am.
El hombre. El hombre
de leche.
El hombre. No, that's not right.
I know it's not right.
That's just wrong. But anyway, how are you going to win this? What I want you to do is I want you to go over to kelbytv.com/contest. And inside of here, you're going to select the show. You're going to put in your name, your email address, your website, and a comment. Leave us one of the comments, and one of you guys is going to win this brand new book that is just out now. So good luck.
All right. I want to answer this one last question before we go. UF Photography asks, whatever happened to the Lightroom tip show that RC and I used to do? Mm-hmm. So I'll tell you a couple of things. First off, we're getting ready to launch. We're not ready yet. We should have been already launched, but we're behind on launching a new show that will encompass a lot of things, including Lightroom. So RC and I will still be doing Lightroom tips, just in a different genre. But it will not be a whole show dedicated to Lightroom. But can I tell you something? And I'm gonna step on my soapbox for just a second.
Okay.
So RC and I did the show. I thought it was pretty good. We put a lot into it, and it was like 9 minutes to 14 minutes, and we just packed it full of Lightroom tips. And we would post it on lightroomkillertips.com, and it would come out. We did the first episode. We got a lot of good reviews, but we worked really, really hard on it. As the year went on, we would post the episode, and you know how many comments we would get on Lightroom Killer Tips? 0. Nobody would say anything. Not thanks for the show, this is good stuff, this is helpful. Now I want you to picture if you wrote an article for a magazine, any magazine, or you went online, you wrote a big article, you put a lot of time into it, and nobody ever said a thing. It's good, it's bad, do more of this, do more of that. They said nothing. You lose your enthusiasm to do it. Now, I could look at the stats and see that a lot of people were watching the show, but nobody would even comment. Not even, could you guys cover this? What do you think about that? People would enter the contest to win something free. But when you post a video online and nobody says anything, you know what you think? I don't feel like doing this anymore. If no one's saying it's good, bad, or indifferent.
Right. But I think what happened with most of that stuff is that, for what I saw was a lot of the interaction and a lot of the interactivity that was happening in the blog posts, was already happening on the regular content that was on Lightroom Killer Tips, and not necessarily on the show side. So it's like,
but overall, it's like you can do a long post or something, and if nobody responds, if there's no feedback at all, you really, think about it. If you went and wrote a big article, you go to bed, you wake up in the morning, you think, I just want to hear what people think, good, bad, or indifferent, and there's nothing, you go, I don't want to do that again. I spent 2.5 hours on that. Well, when RC and I did that show, it took a ton of time. It didn't only take a ton of time. It wasn't just me and RC. We have a whole crew on the set. We're lighting it. Arnaldo's there. We're paying for his. Now he always has to wear all kinds of fancy clothes when he runs the camera, so we're paying for his outfits. Anyway, it was very disappointing to me to put that much work into it and to have so many people watch it week after week after week, but just silence. And I think, you know what? We'll just kill that show. We'll take some our tips and put it in something else. So to answer your question, you know where it went? It went away from apathy. Not on our end, on our viewers' end. You don't say anything,
we don't do it.
We don't do it.
Right, but there is a new show that's coming that's going to encompass a lot of different components.
New show.
So there's some components of PT&T, some components of Photoshop User.
Yeah, we're combining a bunch of things into one super show. But you know what's holding us up? Getting the set build.
Yes.
The set build and the design and all, because you know what it is, we want to basically do one big show and make it really, really, really nice so nobody can comment. And then it's gone through a lot of revisions, but
okay,
because it's kind of being produced by Mia. Like Mia's kind of helping us put the big overarching thing together.
So you know it'll be good.
So you know it'll be good. But I don't know if the content will be good. The show will look amazing, and the flow will be really good. But it's still us at the end of the day. But all right, so that's my rant about Lightroom. From people say, "Where'd it go? Hey, where was that comment on the blog?" Nowhere.
So now you got it.
But
that's pretty much it. That's pretty. Brad, what else you got over there?
Yeah, Brad.
How's everything over in Chatland?
Things are good.
Looks pretty good.
Things are good.
Looks like
Brad is
all
a
right.
tremendous help today. You've been the rock that's held this whole show together.
Well, would you like to know my resolution?
I would love to know your resolution. Now, is this safe for work?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I was actually just going to point people to the blog post that I wrote back before the new year.
That was a really good blog post, Brad. That was one of the best posts of the year.
Thank you. Yeah, if you go to, I think it's kel.by/ what was it? Hold on. Guest blog Brad Moore. Or if you just go to Scott's blog and search for my name,
Yes,
it'll come up.
search for Brad, you'll find it.
It's based on a conversation that I kind of wasn't even part of, but was just kind of listening to as people were having in front of me. But it was actually my pastor was talking about how he counsels these people that have all these goals in life, and they want to get their black belt, they want to do, learn to fly a plane or whatever, but they never you look at their calendar and there's no steps being taken toward accomplishing those goals. And he said this thing that just stuck with me. You know how you're listening to conversations sometimes and somebody will say something and they just move on like it's nothing, and to you it's like, oh.
Yeah.
So he said, your calendar isn't your to-do list, it's who you want to be. So for me, and hopefully some of you, we'll take the time this year to actually put things on our calendar that helps us take steps toward becoming the person that we want to be.
Wow. Now, RC and I have a shared one that we're doing, which is to grow very full, well-groomed beards.
I was
Both of us.
almost there. I was almost there.
Yeah, RC was like, he was
pretty
looking
good.
like Santa.
a homeless guy is. My problem with all of it is just it grows out very patchy.
Yeah, it's
so
tough.
I can't do it.
Yeah, Brad's actually doing a class on KelbyOne called Growing a Thick, Lustrous Beard That Is Not Patchy.
I know. It looks
By
good.
the way, Scott, Rob just texted me back and was like, because he asked me what you did whenever I put the thing up that he told me to put up.
Yeah, he put
and
up something nasty.
I told him what you did by bringing up his portfolio, and he's just like, shut up.
No. He's bad. Anyway, he's a bad person. Anyway, no, he's awesome. All right, so well, that kind of wraps up our first show of 2016. We got to have a little rant at the end, which is nice.
Yeah,
we
pretty good.
don't often get to rant, but
we got to talk CES.
We got to talk a little bit about CES. We gave some resolutions that we'll hope will make you take better pictures. It's our goal, right? Is to help you along. That's our.
And if you do it, send us a picture on Twitter. If you do the prints and you put them up on the wall, and you do that kind of stuff.
We love to see that stuff.
Tell us. I want to be able to see what you guys are doing, because then maybe I'll get some ideas for the pooper. So it'll be kind of. Sorry, I'll get some ideas for the bathroom area. Sorry.
Wow.
Okay.
He didn't just go there, did he?
Went there in the end. Sorry. I'm just gonna shut up now.
I can't wait to get to the bottom of this.
Oh.
Anyway, well, thanks everybody for watching.
He's number one.
Thanks to he's number two.
We'll see you guys next week.
Who does number two work for?
Sorry.
We've got to go.
All right, we'll see you guys
We
next
really
week.
have to go.
Thanks here on the grid.
Get it? We have to go? That's like a thing. See what I did there? Zoom up. Pull out.